gang? It's Brian B.
Miss Emily.
And Miss Megan.
Let's go swinging line. This is our Q&A to our live virtual workshop day. So we kind of threw this together this week. We did a bunch of different courses or classes. We did a core beginner workshop. We did a 5 patterns you need to know. We did an advanced pattern. We did 7 techniques that every West Coast swing dancer needs to know. And then we had we surveyed everyone who is on our email list, and we surveyed everybody to see what they wanted the last class to be. And it was like a dead heat between styling, musicality, and spins and turns, like literally almost dead heat. So I figured musicality would be appropriate for everybody. So you guys can look forward to our next live video. Will likely be a styling day. So we'll kind of dig into that. We'll have the girls involved. We'll have ladies styling, leader styling.
Ducks and trips and tricks and...
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so
Hopefully
you can look forward to that. And also I'll share the survey results. It was kind of just fun. It was fun to do. So if you guys have questions, Ben said, don't make me be here all night, because sometimes these Q&As, when they used to be late at night, they ran really, really long. And I know they're super fun.
Very fun. Very fun. Just not on schedule.
Yeah, Megan likes her schedules. Yeah. So if you guys have questions, please type them in ASAP, whatever subject you want. And then Ben will feed them in so that the conversation kind of flows as well as possible. But, and you guys can do this as well. We'll give our update as to what's going on here in Louisville, Kentucky. And you guys can give us the update of what's going on in your community. It'll help us all connect and kind of understand what's going on for dancers around the country and around the world. So who wants to start for Louisville? What's going on here?
Well, we are starting very small group classes on Sunday, so we'll see how that goes. We're still doing our private lessons. We have a lot of competitions that have been canceled this week, especially actually. So that's a bit of a bummer, but you know, we're still trucking along at Dance Louisville.
How are you doing, Miss Megan? What's going on with you?
You know, nothing much. Getting back to teaching, which is nice. We are starting some group classes up a little bit. Yeah, that's about it. Still walk my dogs every day.
Yeah, so, yeah, the weather's been good. Hot here in Louisville. Yeah, so we've been back for about a month for private lessons. So that's going well. People always ask the question, you know, masks, no masks, and we recommend them, but the largest percentage of our clients do not want them. Group classes will have masks for all the teachers and such, so we're still sorting that out. That's a tricky situation. We are limiting the group classes to like 8 to 9 people, so that plus a teacher leaves us at like 10. I think the rules in Kentucky now allow groups to 50, so we're trying to stay on this side of it, since, you know, we're not a it's not a restaurant. We can space ourselves out quite as appropriately. We can dance far apart. So we're trying to stay on the, you know, the low end safe side. So we're going to test some group classes, and it seems like people are pretty excited to get back.
Yeah, and now that I've made face masks, I'm gonna buy one.
Yeah, so fun stuff in our store on YouTube, and you can also get to this on the, if you're on our workshop page where we have all the links for the replays for today's workshop day, westcoastswingonline.com/workshop. There is a link to our courses, which are on sale 4th of July weekend, and also our online store. So the t-shirt that I have here is one of our t-shirts. And we also have masks, so cool dancer West Coast Swing related masks that are pretty sweet. And a portion of the proceeds goes to, let me not get this right.
No kids hungry. No hungry kids.
So that's pretty.
Kids hungry. Yeah.
No Kids Hungry. So that's pretty cool charity and face masks, which are, it's cool to have something around your hobby, a way to stay connected to this. So that's the update, personal update. Things are going well. Been able to spend some time with family. My dad did cancel a trip to visit here because my stepmom was a little bit wigged out about traveling, so they are not coming down in July. But we have one of our teachers that's come back, Mr. Jacob. So we have our full team here. He's not here with us today, but yep. So our full West Coast, our full Dance Louisville team is back to order. And some of you guys who are dance teachers and stuff have asked the questions of like, well, what percentage of businesses come back, and what do we figure like over what is normal in terms of if you track revenue, right, which is the ultimate bottom line. About 30, maybe 30 to 50% once we had group classes back in. Yeah, with the numbers you gave me. Yeah. So that's good. Thankfully, we should be able to pay our rent out of revenue and income, and people are more excited than I thought to dance. Like, we've had a lot of new people calling, and so wedding couples are coming back ever slowly.
Well, I think a lot of wedding people have rescheduled their weddings and want to get back in.
Yeah, we actually just had someone today message us about renting the space because their reception venue was closed. So that might be something that's going on as well moving forward.
There you go. We're figuring out as we go, like you guys. So Ben's probably he's the voice of Dance Solo, so he'll pop in here. He's got a mic this time. Voice of West Coast Swing Online, sir. What you got, Benjamin?
Starting off with some of our questions from the previous videos. The first one is, why typically isn't a hustle bridge danced in West Coast Swing?
A hustle bridge. Why is a hustle bridge not danced?
Do you all know what a hustle bridge is?
I don't know what a hustle bridge is.
No, were you asking?
Like the move?
Yeah.
Like a hustle whip?
I don't know. I don't know what a hustle bridge is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm
You know
oh,
what a hustle bridge is?
I don't.
I'm
I was
0 for
hoping
1.
You all did.
Find me what a hustle
I'll
bridge
look
is.
it up.
Someone describe what that
Good
is.
question, man. I'm rarely completely stumped, but I can't even fake that one.
We'll move on, and I'll
We'll
come
move on.
back
We'll
to
figure it out though. Interesting, because I'm gonna learn something, which is what happens with all these.
The next one, do we have a sample tutorial music to demo or to practice musicality with?
Sample music to practice musicality with.
We don't have that per se, but we do have a slow West Coast Swing playlist on YouTube that is very good and has clear beats of a myriad of songs that you could practice musicality to.
Yeah. So if you, and maybe Ben can Google this and pull this up and drop this in the link, but yeah, we've been working on some music playlists. So we do have and you can download this if you just go to the website, West Coast Swing Online, music selections, practice music, something to that degree, and find that page. There's a downloadable PDF that has a great list of practice music for West Coast Swing. And we've actually, I'm not sure if that link includes everything else. We've got one for two-step as well. But we're building them out for all of them. Emily's done a great job. These really cool. You can download this PDF, and the music is separated by music speed. It has the beats per minute, so you can start on the slow end, work to the high end. The name of the song, a clickable link to YouTube, and the genre that it's in. So it's the best resource. We created it, and because it didn't exist.
So it's
Yeah,
good.
so there's one for West Coast, one for two-step. We're working on one for all of the dances.
No,
So
they're all done. They're just not published.
they're just not published yet. We're getting there, but you can get the
Working on
West
it.
Coast Swing one. In terms of songs that I like to practice West Coast Swing to, man, I don't know if I have a super easy version off the top of my head. The one that we use in the course that I love is Stitched Up by John Mayer, Herbie Hancock and John Mayer, Stitched Up. I love that song. It's got a clear 2-4-6-8 swing beat. It's got some really cool musicality stuff. It's a fun song to listen to in general. That's my favorite musicality song. I played that in the studio for a long time, pre-you. Like, I wore that thing out, and we brought it back for the musicality video. So, yeah, you guys can grab that. If you the course, it's on sale. westcoastswingonline.com/July, or if you're on the workshop page, there's a link there, and all the courses are on sale. The musicality course, it has music. We play music in it, a couple of different songs. Super cool. What you got, Ben?
This is from Kyle on YouTube.
Hello,
Kyle
Kyle.
says that he is a leader practicing alone, and the reverse whip from the right to left hand hold is difficult for him to visualize. Is there a good way for him to practice that alone?
Good question, Kyle. I'm doing it in my head. Yeah, look at him go. Yeah, so two things. Number one, nailing your footwork cold to the whip, right? Understanding the stuff we talked about in the video. I assume you watched the earlier video. So kind of the way I think through West Coast Swing when I'm teaching it is to think in 2-beat increments, right? So 1, 2, where's the position? What foot am I on? What's the angle of my body? They're watching themselves on delay, by the way, which then we're on a delay from you. So looking through each thing, and if you watch that video back slow-mo, right, and pause on every 2 beats, 1, 2, where's the position on 2? 3 and 4. Where's the position on 4, 5, 6? What foot am I on? What's the position of my body? Where the shoulders are? Where's the hand at? That's probably the best way to go practice it. And if you can understand those 2, 4, 6, 8 beat increments, that's the best way to break it down. For you guys who don't know, personal story, I do jujitsu, or I used to, but I bought, because I'm a dancer, it's not good to break yourself. But learning jujitsu moves is much like learning dance moves, right? You learn a move, and then the music comes on, you're like, oh my God, it all falls apart. Or you have to learn a move and you don't have a partner to practice with, and it's difficult. Then the thing that's advantageous to West Coast swing is you have those 2 beat increments. So clearly everybody should be in, roughly speaking, this spot on count 2, this spot on count 4, this spot on count 6, this on 8. And in jiu-jitsu, it's like we pass through these positions, but they could happen very slowly and methodically, or they could happen super fast. So use 2, 4, 6, and 8 as you go through it, and I think that will help. Got anything for that?
No, I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Bingo. What's next, Benji? You're going to answer this one. Maybe? No? Depends on what it is. Go for it.
The next one, some people really find the concept of counting straight eights to be really cool and really useful to them. Is that a concept that you can use in any other social dances? Or, sorry, let me rephrase this. Is that a concept that you use in any other social dances that you teach, such as two-step, to help the leader plan what to lead?
100%. Actually, this has cropped up lately.
I just had this conversation with a student.
In the studio?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I've seen that actually come through either some YouTube comments or some emails. That's been lingering a little bit, like using counting straight eights for different genres. What are your thoughts?
Yes, we use them for sure, but they are in different increments. So, for instance, in two-step, there are different phrasings or different options that you can use. So it won't necessarily be a 32 count phrase. It might be 16. That goes for like polka and a couple of other dances. So straight eights are definitely used, but in different increments.
Yeah, for sure. An easy one, and I saw this come up somewhere in an email or comment, was nightclub, right? Because nightclub is great. The kind of straight eights makes total sense. It's slower moving, and the accents on 1, 3, 5, and 7 are actually natural accents for the slows. Slow 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Let's do it together. 7, 8, and 1. Yeah. So that's a great one. Two-step gets really squirrely because there's a couple different ways to count two-step.
Yes, in the studio apparently.
Whole different discussion. It's my studio, kind of my way. No, so there's different ways to count two-step, but either way, the counting straight still applies to take apart phrasing, and we do that. Two-step is maddening.
It's either going to be 4 quick eights or 2 slow eights.
Correct, yeah. It nets out the same, but yes, it is definitely a concept you can use. And
Just stick with one for you.
I definitely, in my head, count eights in two-step. I definitely count it in nightclub. I definitely count it in West Coast.
Cha-cha.
Cha-cha for sure. I kind of count 4s.
Triple 2.
Yep.
If you do triple.
Triple 2, I don't know what that is. Sorry, we're done. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's for sure used in, choreography mainly for us. I mean, when we're choreographing routines, it's very important. So if your student understands that, that's very helpful.
Yeah, cool. What do we got next, Ben?
So completely going off topic from dance for just a second, you've shown on multiple videos in the past different versions of whiskey that you like. What is the one that you like the most from Kentucky? So probably your favorite bourbon.
My favorite bourbon, anything from Buffalo Trace. So the Buffalo Trace, they're like signature brand. That's their like the Budweiser of the Buffalo Trace distillery. That is anything from Buffalo Trace is solid. You drink quite a bit of bourbon, yeah? Not quite a bit, but you sip on bourbon on the regular.
With you, yeah.
What do you like?
Woodford, I like Woodford a lot. Woodford Double Oaked is really good.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah.
Angel's Envy.
Angel's Envy. Ben used to work for Angel's Envy. I have a couple of nice expensive bottles of Angel's Envy.
Rare is good.
Eagle Rare is also out of Buffalo Trace.
Oh yeah, and Weller's, I guess.
And Weller's. Yeah, so if you can find things that you're likely to find, Buffalo Trace, that's a good one. Woodford Reserve is solid
Woodford.
and available everywhere. If you want to get fancy, Woodford Double Oaked. That only comes out a couple times a year, and Woodford Double Oaked is even more expensive and it comes out less times per year. Short fat, yeah.
They're all the short fat bottle.
Yeah, and
This one's fatter.
Yes.
and then what was the other one? Eagle Rare. That's hard. That's very rare to find. Yeah, Buffalo Trace is probably one. It's maybe not my favorite, but it's my favorite that I can find anywhere. And Woodford Reserve is another favorite.
Makers is good. Makers 46 you like?
Maker's 46 is pretty good. I like Buffalo Trace stuff though.
We just like bourbon.
Yeah, good,
No,
good
no,
answer.
it's all crap.
Oh,
Megan hates everything. On that note, when things get better, I want to do a like a small workshop here in Louisville when people can travel.
It's funny you say that because there's a question about it.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. But I would love to do a workshop, like a West Coast Swing Online, like intensive with a small group for those of you guys who want to come to Louisville. And we'll take you around to our favorite spots. We'll do a bourbon distillery. We'll do Churchill Downs when they let us back in. We'll do the,
downtown now.
yeah, it'll be fun stuff. So that is, as soon as we can do it, I want to do that. What do we got, Ben?
next question. Do you still have plans for Derby City Swing in January?
Do we still have plans for Derby City Swing in January? Yes. Quick history. We had an event in May, which happened right in the middle of all this craziness. We wiggled out of that contract. The hotel was not, they tried to charge me $47,000. I said, try again. I thought toilet paper was in short supply. Why are you sending me this bill? This could be used as toilet paper. That's exactly what I said to them. But they came around the Crown Plaza, Louisville, Kentucky. Great. We talked about Derby City Swing, and I said, hey, look, I can't sign a contract to guarantee anything because we just don't know what's going on. So, and this is kind of to give everybody who goes to dance events an idea of what's happening underneath, and I can assume this is happening everywhere. The hotels obviously have gone the other direction. They used to be very anal retentive with the contracts, and they were always worse every year, and they charged us more money because the economy was good and they could. And we had to go with it because otherwise we didn't have events. Now it's gone the other way. So we technically have a contract signed for Derby City Swing, and I told him, I said, I just don't know. So my requirement to perform on the contract is, and I quote my sales director, well, you can show up and spend one night in the hotel and sit with your friends in a conference room for an hour, and you have fulfilled your contract. So we do have a contract. We do have the outline for Derby City Swing. And depending upon what everything looks like over the next several months, depends on what we might do with Derby City Swing. It could, if people are able to travel and we can't run a full-fledged event, maybe it'll become a workshop weekend. Maybe it will be some sort of a competition with a different setup. I don't know, but we do have a contract, and I told the hotel if things are safe and if we can do that and there's people willing to come, we will take a stab at running some sort of event if it's possible. And if it's not, it's not. But yeah, we do have the bones lined out. We have a contract and date as normal, so we'll see what that turns into. Good question.
Next question. One of our viewers says that they think they might like dancing Jack and Jills but have no interest in routines. What are your thoughts on that? Is it important to take part in competition with choreographed routines?
Dave, what's up, buddy? Good question. What do you have to say about that? Thoughts?
I mean, if you... so Jack and Jill's, you don't have to know choreography for that. It's just social dancing, essentially. You don't get to pick your partner, and you don't get to pick the song, and you go out there and have fun. If you are interested in routine competition, it's my preferred method, but it's not necessarily everybody's. Some people don't like that type of pressure or the amount of practice time it takes, and they just want to take it a little bit easier as far as trying out comps here and there. So I think social dancing. I think Jack and Jill's are really good for you to just, dip your toe in the water as far as competition's concerned.
What you got?
Well, part A of that, so what Megan said, you don't necessarily have to have a routine for Jack and Jill's. In fact, practically no one does. The important thing for followers and leaders, but followers for sure, you just have to know your patterns because you don't know who you're going to dance with. You don't know what patterns they know, but you can kind of hone in and know exactly what patterns you know and what you're comfortable with. So I think for that, that is important. As far as taking part in competition with a choreographed routine, that is totally up to you. If routines are not for you, then you don't need to do that. And Jack and Jill's or Strictly's even are, I think, probably your cup of tea. Because Strictly's, you can at least know who your partner is going to be because you can choose them beforehand. Jack and Jill's is a little bit more up in the air. But I don't think you have to do that. I think that it could be, routines are a good way to kind of learn musicality and learn how to hit things if that's what you're going for. But if that's not what you're going for and you just want to have fun and kind of do whatever and practice what patterns you know, then Jack and Jill's and Strictly's are probably your best bet.
Boom, I got a couple thoughts on that. So Davey said you might like dancing Jack and Jill's. So the advantage to Jack and Jill's is they require no upfront work, right? As long as you are to pass beginner class and you're able to social dance at all, you're qualified to dance a Jack and Jill. Don't have to take lessons, don't have to have a partner. So from that standpoint, I love it. To your point, like it's an awesome way to get involved in competition. And so from my perspective, after dancing through West Coast Swing and the ballroom world and the country world, the big advantage to Jack and Jill's is it doesn't require a lot to get out there and participate in the competition. So from that standpoint, it's awesome. It's its own skill set. As you level up through that, right, it's a pure social dance skill set. So the better of a social dancer you are, the better your Jack and Jill skills will be. So it's its own skill set. Now, we slide over to routines, and is that important? One of the things that I heard years ago, and I've been around a long time now, so this might be an old argument, was the best, how'd they say it? The best Jack and Jill dancers are also the best at routines. That's the way I kind of thought about it, and the people around me thought about it. The best Jack and Jill dancers are also the ones that are best at routines. And so the thought process was, it's because they're really skilled Jack and Jill social dancers as to why they're good at routines. I have a completely upside down view of that. I feel like they are, and I have an argument for this too, I feel like the best routine dancers are generally very good Jack and Jill dancers. And I know you guys can think of notable people, and I don't want to name names, but there's notable people that are fantastic routine dancers that are not nearly as good as of social dancers. So they are completely different skill sets. However, I do think that by working on the same stuff over and over, and I'll get to my clear argument as to why I think I'm right about this, as you get to where you're dancing your same stuff over and over in a routine, you're leveling up your skill sets. As you're doing different routines, and Megan and I can speak to this, as we've gone through routines, moves that are hard that we have to learn in routines, we later have the skill set to just do them social dancing at will. We've leveled up ourselves by practicing over and over on specific things. So I challenge you to do this. Pick a time period, summer of 2018. Pick your favorite dancer. Watch all the Jack and Jills of that favorite dancer during summer of 2018. Watch the type of moves that they're doing, and you're going to find that during the summer 18, ex-champion dancer and all of their Jack and Jills will basically be doing the same types of moves over and over. Yeah, and one of my favorite good friend of mine.
What year?
Yep. Robert Royston is a great we've done a couple breakdowns of Robert, and he's brilliant. His musical understanding is amazing, but he has a handful of things that he does on the regular, and he has such control of those moves that they're brilliant, and they're not even that hard. So he's a great example of taking a handful of moves that you perfect and being able to use them on a high level. So two different skill sets, not necessary to either one, but there's an advantage to either or both.
Next question, still on the same vein of competitions. Do you feel like the levels are harder now? They feel as if novice is now more like what intermediate used to be.
Yeah, I don't have to repeat the question. This is great. Yes. What's your impression upon the levels of West Coast Swing in the time you've been around?
In West Coast Swing specifically?
Yeah.
Because it's really in all, everything. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask.
Yeah,
I
your impression.
Yeah, I think that skills for sure have gotten harder, and people are walking into competition at a higher level than they used to, but they also aren't not physically qualified, but in the system not qualified to enter at a, I don't know, advanced level
points.
versus points wise in
So, like,
West
you're-
Coast swing.
You're talking like a professional dancer.
Theoretically, I am a novice Jack and Jill dancer.
Yeah.
I have no points. So I don't think actually we can dance novice, so there is that. So it really would put us in an intermediate level and could or could not make the level higher based on how we dance. But I think a lot of that's going on. I think just people are walking in at a higher level.
More backgrounds too.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference, and this has really happened certainly over the last decade, two things that affect this. Number one, the athleticism of the dancers. If you look at the people that have come on the scene in the last 10 years, like Victoria Hank comes to mind, the level of athleticism,
There's a whole bunch of new people too.
yeah, people, like
Found last night.
the athleticism of the people coming into the dance sport, or someone like you who came in dancing ballet since you were like 3,
Yes, like me.
and and so she's had, like, you're dealing with super athletic, a lot of dance training coming into the dance world. Fun fact, you have a U.S. Open title.
I do.
Explain that real quick.
2013. 2013. I was a part of the Go Dance swing team, and I guess that was actually before all the Jordan and Tot swing teams, but our whole staff basically was made the team, and we went to the U.S. Open, and we were coached by Gary McIntyre and Susan Kirkland, and we won the team title for that year.
Oh, babies. There you go.
It's awesome.
Very cool. U.S. Open champion. Yeah, so the biggest difference, I think, is the athleticism. And number two, I think the biggest thing that has affected West Coast swing's growth around the world, and I think our ability to learn, is video, and specifically YouTube, right? Because like Emily said, she was up last night, she couldn't sleep, and she watched a boatload of YouTube videos.
Like over 5 hours.
And so like that's a big skill set, right? The genesis of this whole West Coast Swing Online was literally going to YouTube, finding moves that our students would want to do, and breaking them down in ways that were achievable for most of us. So the athleticism and YouTube have really upped the level of West Coast Swing everywhere. So yeah, it's not just you, it's all of them.
Yes,
and we're getting older, so I'm slowing down and the athleticism is going up.
Yeah, it's also the natural progression of learning, because your teachers you don't have to spend the time learning the stuff that your teachers did, because they found a more efficient way to learn it.
Yeah.
So now you get to learn it quicker and move on to the harder stuff faster. And then you learn that faster, or learn a more efficient way as an instructor, and now your students get to move through things faster as well.
Ben is really smart. He's a smart kid. Yeah, and to that point, like, so if you look at my history in dancing, right, like, how long have you been around? 7 years, so I'd been around for close to 13, 14 years in my dance career before I met Ben, right? So I'd figured some stuff out. And so then Ben sits on the back of that. And then also through me taking a smart kid like Ben and helping him, I figure more stuff out. So then I'd write a video for you guys, and it's sitting on the back of all of that knowledge. And all of that sits on the back of all the knowledge of, the Mario Rabaus and the people that came before us, right? So to your point, it's exponential.
It's fun to watch old ballroom videos of the 60s or the
That-
70s, because
Fun to
they're
that's fun, but it's also fun to watch like Mario
Yeah.
from the early 90s and 80s do his swing stuff with Carmen, because he does a lot of the same stuff,
Yeah.
but it's so fast. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you watch some of the open professional stuff in the early, or like the mid 1900s, though, that's like silver today.
100%. Yeah. Do this. And I wish I knew the exact terms to Google, but I did this years ago, 7, 8 years ago. Look at like ballroom dancing 1960s, or Latin dancing 1960s, Latin dancing 1970s, 1980s, and work your way up through the decades. And you'll find these old grainy videos. And to Ben's point, like I had a student that did their first ballroom competition a couple years ago. It was always a dream for her to do it. And we went out and did it. And when she was talking about watching videos, I said, do not watch the top professionals today, because these athletes are like off the charts. Andrea was, how old? I don't know how Andrea was, but like not 25 and Russian and had been dancing since she was 2, right? Like in her 60s, I said, watch the top dancers from the 1960s, because that's actually, your style of dancing and your abilities and what you're able to produce now is probably equivalent to a professional ballroom dancer back in the 1960s. So that'll give you an idea of the progression, stylistically, athletically, all that stuff.
Next question. Do we have a video on how to come out of dips is the first question.
Yes, from
Do we?
COVID series.
I mean, we did the dips and tricks class, so depending on which dip you're trying to come out of, we might.
Probably, yeah. The video we did during the live videos on dips and tricks is probably the one that would probably cover that topic the most. I don't think we have a specific video on coming out of dips, but
Oh, like going to another move? Probably not.
probably not. But what I'm sure I covered those dips was
Coming out of it.
was how to put someone onto, how to put your follower onto a specific foot, which then frees up the correct foot to lead the next thing. So that's probably covered in that video.
In general, you probably just, I think mainly I get put up onto my foot and then you do some form of an anchor. Not necessarily anchor step, but you would anchor away or a rock and go from closed position. Like you would pick them up in closed position and do a rock and go or something. But you just probably want to find a connection away and then try to do another pattern.
Boom.
How can the follower, or is there anything that the follower can do in lieu of a dip? Is there like some sort of a sit, or do they have to do whatever the leader's leading?
You can do a mini dip. You could do a mini
Just
dip.
do a head thing. That's a mini dip.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because I had this experience years ago. Like, I have a bad back and it's fantastic right now, actually. It's feeling good. But, because I'm not dancing as much.
Or jujitsu.
But with the advent of the athleticism of dips and tricks and the followers flying themselves around and all the young girls in their 20s, they would throw themselves into things. So when it's done at its highest level, right, you're connected, the leader initiates, the follower goes into the dip, right? And then the amount of athleticism that they can use, like I've got a student, Shandy, who, like, I can do a dip with her and she just folds over. She does not need me whatsoever. That's how athletic she is, right? But Megan is less flexible than Shandy. So Megan would have to be off weight. I would have to assist her further.
I don't like the off-weight one.
No, but don't kid yourself. Like, homegirl is,
Shandy, but
yeah, super physical.
I like that. I don't like that dip.
So if you're connected, and we teach wedding couples dips, right? So there are functional ways to do them that are very, very secure. But to your point, like and we talk about it in our dips video, like off weight versus on weight. On weight means like I can fold over my student Shandy and I could walk away and she's just folded over. I remember watching this, one of my first ballroom competitions I competed at, this cool couple did this contra check in tango at the end of their routine, and the girl was completely flipped over backwards, and the music ended, and the leader just let go of her and walked away, and she stayed folded over in the dip, and it was super cool.
I did that in one of Nick's routines.
Yeah, super cool. So yes, there are ways. It's called not being off weight, meaning whatever your athleticism can take you to, and you can stand there by yourself, that's on your own weight. That's as much as you should do, and then the leader would take you further than that if it's secure and safe and comfortable.
So on that note, how can the follow limit the extent of the dip? So how can they keep the leader from taking them farther?
If you're dancing with Murray from Kentucky, no.
Who's Murray?
You don't know. Everybody has a Murray, and I'm gonna assume that that Murray's not watching this, but he was a guy who danced socially in town. He's one of those guys. You guys all have him in your community. He does all the moves, loves all the ladies. Dances his way around town. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So years and years ago, Murray came in and he said, I do these tricks. I was like, Murray, he was supposed to do a routine with someone for some show or something. And so I said, Murray, if you do this and you make sure she's secure and you do it this way, then my joke, I said, she won't scream. And Murray goes, oh no, I like the screams. And so to that point, if the leader has a hold of you and drags you into it, I don't know that there's much you can do, and I don't. Hold on, yeah, but without standing up and working through some stuff, I don't know there's specific.
If you're in a closed position, hi.
The friend tap, that was terrible. I got the double tap.
back here. If you're in a closed position, you can hold on and essentially almost refuse to dip. I mean, unless they want to bend over.
Your back, just kind of take care of you in that regard.
Probably the safest thing, we've encountered this in some different scenarios, but communicating right up front. Like, when I started to have people fly around into dips, I would tell them, like, hey, I have a bad back, like, please don't throw yourself into a dip. I would just cover it in the beginning. Or if you have a bad shoulder, I've had dancers say this, hey, I have a bad shoulder, like, please be careful what you do here. Or Mary, who worked for one of our cruises, she has a nerve issue. So touching one of her shoulders, she has to wear off the shoulder shirt, so her right shoulder never has anything. Well, okay, I'm a boy. So if you touch her on the shoulder, it's like excruciating pain for her, and you would never know. You know, she doesn't look like she has any problems, but she has a nerve issue down her arm. And even though I've known her for years and she's worked with us as a teacher on our cruises, every time I'd answer her, she'd be like, hey, remember my shoulder? And I'm like, oh. And so it immediately clues me in that I have to be careful with this side of her body. And that's really helpful because I love Mary and I know that, but as I'm imagining her right now, I don't remember which shoulder it is other than the one that's off the...
Right.
Yeah, right shoulder. Ben remembers.
Regardless, just
I led the wrong move.
If you have any sort of issues or you don't like doing something, I would be upfront with whoever you're dancing with if you're not familiar with them.
Super easy to do, especially during COVID. Just you don't have that issue. That was great. That was great. What do we got? This is fun.
Going back a little bit, and I think I missed part of this conversation, but within Jack and Jill's, most of us would end up having to dance in intermediate to begin with. Can you talk a little bit about why we would be in intermediate?
Why who would be an intermediate?
So, like, if Emily and I danced Jack and Jill's, why would we be in intermediate to begin with? Because that if we started intermediate, that would throw the advanced scale off.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm probably going to get some of this wrong. We technically qualify for novice, but they would not let us, because of our level, dance in novice, which is...
Because we are professional teachers and instructors.
Yes.
Like that's...
which then would throw us into intermediate. What we could do personally is petition to go into advanced, which is what we would probably do. Especially if we have students in intermediate, yes. That way, and we would probably very easily get accepted into advanced because of that reason. So we didn't throw off the level of intermediate, but also because we potentially have students in intermediate.
Yeah, it's a symptom of the point system that Jack and Jill's used.
Yeah.
So because you have to have points in order to move into the next section or the next level,
Yep.
that there are in the rules where if you have students or pros or something or you are a pro, you have to dance. You have to start off in intermediate. You do have to go through a process in order to even be able to do that, but you have to start off in intermediate at the lowest.
There's a in country you have to start at a specific level as well,
Yeah.
especially if you're more than 50%. I think that's an old rule, but that was the rule before. If more than 50% of your income is from teaching, then you have to start, well, it used to be that you had to start at the intermediate level and then go up from there. Whether that's the case or not, there's supposed to be like a threshold where instructors start and then go up.
Yeah, there's not a perfect system. There's a lot of smart people who've worked on the best way, and the Jack and Jill system is pretty darn good. The country system is pretty darn good. They all have their issues. I think at least in my experience, one of the biggest issues doesn't actually come from the structure of it. It's how we approach it. If you are, like, what's the point of competition? Like, is it purely about winning? Because there's only one best, right? If everyone's doing it, there's only one best person, and there's one person in last, and all of us are somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. So just using it as a guide, as a feedback mechanism to your progress, that's probably a good way to look at it, regardless of how you enter. Because if you're Emily, and Emily comes in with her dance background, and she starts dancing routines, and she dances socially a ton, and she gets really stinking good, and she is in the top 5 in the U.S. Open doing a routine, and she's never done a Jack and Jill, right? Like, and then she steps into Jack and Jill and is amazing as a novice dancer, right? Like, is that okay? Well, she's never done a Jack and Jill before. She's never actually, so is that okay or not okay? Like, well, fair enough. Stick her in there. Let her dance her X comps. Move the heck up. Get out an intermediate. Theoretically, this is a theoretical thing. And move her way all the way up till she becomes an all-star, and then we don't have to worry about her. Right?
Would they not just enter at the same level that their routine was at?
That's possible. I mean, there's not levels of routines
Yeah,
in swing.
because it's 2 different systems on
Yeah,
how they do it,
different
and
systems.
Jack and Jill's is based off points.
Yeah. So most of the time I get these questions. Years ago, I got them a lot. We had a lot of dances. We did a lot of we taught a lot of Jack and Jill dancers, and there was always the struggle of the points and the this and the that, and it's just such a different system, right? The coasts are different level-wise than the Midwest, and Europe is different stylistically than America, and so if you're using it as a feedback mechanism, hey, I live in the Midwest of the U.S., I entered my first Jack and Jill competition, I got blanked. No callbacks, no nothing. Awesome. Can we work in your game, level up your game till you can start getting a couple callbacks? Then you get several callbacks. Then you make an alternate, and then you make a final. Then you don't make a final. Then you start making finals consistently. And so it's just a place, a way to level up your dancing in general. But just don't take it as a feedback on your, what's the word? Self-esteem. Don't let it affect your self-esteem. Gosh darn it.
Go and cry in your hotel room.
Don't break your plaques like I used to do. 3rd place, terrible judges. I've done it all wrong. Not in Jack and Jill's, but oh, terrible. I've done it all. I understand. I've done it all wrong, and I've done it all right.
You had a request, Ben.
I had a request?
Can we say Ben on camera?
Ben, come on out.
Here in a minute.
In a minute.
The next question is, do you all plan on doing more routine breakdown videos?
A routine breakdown video.
Like the champion breakdown.
Yeah, so we do champion breakdowns of moves from Jack and Jill's. A routine breakdown video is interesting. That's a
Well, I mean, we did the JT and I did the routine thing to teach, like
but a breakdown of a routine.
Means the champion breakdowns.
Yeah, so we definitely and
I don't know who's.
yeah, I'll have Ben figure out this question. He's great. Isn't Ben great? I love Ben.
Ben is great.
So he's gonna hop on camera, but I think he pressed his shirt because he texted me last night. He said, "Am I gonna be on camera?" I was like, he goes, "Because I need to know ahead of time. I need to get clothes ready." So he had shorts on a minute ago. So routine. I'm not sure about a routine breakdown. It'd be fun to I could watch a routine and give my thoughts on it. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Yeah.
But as far as the champion breakdowns, we do have them
Explain what they are real
hopefully
quick.
every week. Champion breakdowns are we take a YouTube video of many different people, but like Ben Morris and partner. Many different partners, usually Victoria. Victoria is in almost all of them. But we find a cool move or a interesting move, and we break it down to where most people could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so what do they mean by a routine breakdown? I want to know specifically because that's kind of a fun concept. I want to get that one right. Ben's coming on camera. He's already changed out of his shorts. He's ready to roll.
bring a chair with you.
I mean, he's not wearing.
Yeah, and any other suggestions for stuff? Look, man, we're on lockdown. We can't do what we normally do, us included. So our workflow as West Coast Swing Online is definitely different as well. So let me know what you guys are thinking, what you'd like more of, and we could definitely do some more of that stuff. If it's entertaining for you and it keeps the juices flowing, we're 100% willing to do it. What's up, Micklick? Micklick joined us on Facebook. Hello, Jason Micklick. Jason and Sophie Swing and Dance Party got canceled, but they are
Staying strong.
yeah. Speaking of that stuff, I want to do a video at some point or an interview with Jason and Sophie. We talk about building communities. For those of you guys who don't know, if you live in the Midwest, you certainly know Jason Micklick and Sophie Cadepp. They live up in Cincinnati, they do, and you can jump in here, Jason, and say hi, because I'm about to call you out. Because they are from Cincinnati, but they don't tell people that they technically live in Kentucky, Hebron, Kentucky. So that's all right. Even the Cincinnati airport doesn't say that it's actually in Kentucky. Jason says, "Sup, y'all? What's up, buddy?" So those guys have done a.
Yeah.
Jason says, "Sup, hi all." So hi to all of you. So Jason and Sophie do a great job of running a dance community in the greater Cincinnati area, and they are my gold standard for how to. That's right, Hebron, Kentucky, buddy. They're like my gold standard for how to run a community, which is not directly applicable during lockdown. And I'd like to hear your thoughts, Jason. What's going on with you guys? Like, what's going on with your?
On vacation.
I didn't see that on Facebook.
The girls have some crazy hair.
So yeah, at some point, I'm gonna try to get together with Jason and Sophie, because when things were good, they did a great job of creating regular classes, regular workshops where they brought in other people, specific like little styling workshops and musicality workshops that they did.
Cater to beginners too.
A lot of stuff for beginners. They run a couple of different events up there, one in February, one in August, which is also a great social dance weekend. It was sad to see that is not going to happen, because Swing and Dance Party was one of maybe my favorite social dance event, and a big inspiration for Derby City Swing, which has a very social vibe, and I really tried to retain that from Swing and Dance Party. So those guys have done a great job. So if you guys live in a community and want to grow your community, I would reach out to Jason and Sophie and see what are the things that they've done, because they've done a great job.
I figured out what a bridge is.
What's a bridge?
Can I still you one?
Hustle Bridge. Here we go. Hustle Bridge.
I don't know if you'll be able to see my head off the camera here.
No.
So it goes this way.
Oh,
That's
Oh.
apparently a bridge.
that is used a lot.
I have no idea how that's used in West Coast.
Oh, that's fantastic.
No, it's used a lot.
Oh, we're gonna have to. We'll cover that on a different.
It's used a lot.
We're at the end of our workshop day, but keep that on your brain. Put that on our list, Miss Megan. We'll put it. So, Jason, for those of you guys on YouTube who aren't seeing the live feed here on Facebook, Jason said, "What's that?"
Even Emily said it's good.
Oh, everyone's heads are cut off. We're watching this video like on delay. So, Jason says everything's on standstill as far as group stuff. They're just starting to do limited private lessons. Yeah, Jason, we're back to normal private lessons here in Louisville. And group classes, we're going to start small group classes for like 8 people a piece. So we're testing the waters starting Sunday in a couple of days.
From now.
Yeah, so we're excited about that to see where that goes. What else we got? Any other questions?
Going back to the breakdowns, so like taking the top 5 U.S. Open routines and breaking them down. Why did this person get, or even, I'm going to
that's
expand on
fun.
it for you, Annie. Like taking the top 10 and say, why did these people make finals and these didn't?
That's fun. So, if you guys are interested in watching this content, I've thought about this a lot, because it's quite a bit of work when we produce these videos, right? Like, there's 4 of us in the room now, and it's like I was up working on today since 8 o'clock this morning, setting the pages, and there's a lot of work, and these guys were too. So, a lot of this stuff is a ton of work, but one of the things I thought would be a little less work would be me sitting in my office where I can just live feed some stuff or put a camera out and record some stuff. So, if someone give me 3 people who are interested in that, and I'll do it. So 3 people have to say, yes, I'm interested. And we'll do breakdowns of like the top 5.
We already have Annie, so we only need 2.
We need 2 more. 2 more people need to say, yeah, I want to see breakdowns of the top 5. Like, why do people?
2, 3.
cheaters. 2 more people not part of the Dance Hall staff.
It would be fun.
Jason says he's excited to hear how it goes. Best of luck, you guys. Stay safe. Hugs. Elbow bump to you, Jason. Elbow bump to you. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. Hope the family's doing well. But yeah, if you guys want to see some breakdowns, maybe I'm thinking about some content that'd be interesting just to watch and consume. And even though we can't dance,
Can we try and do the routines?
yeah. What? Oh, try and do them.
Yeah.
See, that's maddening. If we did a breakdown and act, then you have to
A chunk of the routine.
learn the
chunk, like a
routine.
phrase.
That's crazy. You can learn it. You can break it down.
will.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
What
So
else
yeah,
are we gonna do?
yeah, I'd love to give some thoughts on. We did this years ago. This is pretty fun. We all got together during the U.S. Open. A lot of people watched the U.S. Open live stream, and so we watched the prelims. Was it the prelims? Of Classic, and we tried to break down, and we all recorded who we thought would make the finals out of the prelims. And the interesting thing, tell me if I get this wrong, the interesting thing is as each one of our scorecards came through, in the order of our years of dancing in this dance sport was how accurate we were. So I think I was the most accurate.
No, I didn't. You just say you won.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, you didn't win.
Yeah.
I lost. That's all I know.
No, you
For
didn't.
the amount of people who got into finals, yes.
I won, I'm 100% sure.
Regardless, I was second then, and I have
Sounds
not
like we
been
need to
in
do
this.
it again.
Well, you're a U.S. Open champion. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun to do a breakdown. Little quick. Why?
I just don't remember.
That's the crazy thing about high level dancing is like why? Oh man, it very much just becomes a
Preference.
preference. It's a preference.
There is also, to Jordan and Tott's, I guess, credit. They were also in like Gary and Susan were awesome, Ben and Jen were awesome, Ben and Victoria were awesome, but Jordan and Tott were always and continue to be in a world of their own. Like they are the most, they try the craziest things. They try and like push everything to the limit. And I think Gary and Susan do a good job of that. But I think they were always, Jordan and Todd were always the.
One of my coaches, David Kloss, said, "I've never seen a champion cloned."
Yeah.
Remember that quote? I've never seen a champion cloned. So if you think about it, if we all had designs on winning the U.S. Open, right? We'd be looking up the ladder, up the food chain to the best people. We try to emulate them. But the issue is when you get close to them, if you are copying them, you're just a carbon copy. So at best, you can be the best carbon copy of the champion, but you can't be them. So to be a champion, this is where I think J&T are brilliant and literally a once-in-a-lifetime type of couple. There's very, very, very few of them that transform the game. And I think those of us who've been lucky to watch them are lucky to watch them because I can't think of another dance couple in another dance form that has been as transformative as them. So to be a champion for a decade in a dance sport and to continually keep pushing it is like I literally have chills as I'm saying this. Like it's super impressive. And I can't explain it. If I give a breakdown, I can't explain it, but I can just tell you that after watching decades of ballroom dancing and decades of West Coast swing dancing and salsa and this and that and the other thing, there have been very few people like them who are as transformative.
The other person that comes to mind is Benji. So the other person that's kind of in his own world, no matter who his partner is, and they've all been phenomenal, but no one has really touched him at all, and he's kind of pushed again the limits of all of that stuff. And,
Can I chime in?
yeah.
Yeah, so if you're interested in that stuff, watch two different things. Watch Benji Schwimmer's retirement speech and watch Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame acceptance speech. And you'll see what makes those people. Both of them seem like they have something to prove to the world that drove. We've talked about this, like the something to prove to the freaking world. Michael Jordan's retirement speech sounds like an FU to everyone from high school to as a professional. He literally was like, yeah, and that kid that coach that didn't pick me for my freshman team, like FU. And then to this guy, like to ESPN and Sports Illustrated, who didn't put me on the cover on my freshman year as one of the starting people and put the other four people, FU. Like he had something to prove the whole time. And Benji the same way. He said something about, they say Father Time is undefeated. Well, so am I. Bob and Julia. Oh, Miklik with Bob and Julia in American Rhythm. There's another couple. That's a great one, Miklik. 100%. If you guys don't know Bob and Julia, man, they were known as, you guys before you guys, but like when I started, they were, holy shit, they kicked the crap out of anyone. You guys would know. Dancing with,
Monetization gone.
I said that. I said that you guys might know Tony Dovolani from Dancing with the Stars, right? Everyone knows who Tony Dovolani was, right? Tony Dovolani couldn't crack Bob and Julia because they were the best American rhythm couple. Super transformative. Julia's athleticism and the type of stuff that they did, and people picked on them because their timing was weird and they weren't really doing bolero. It was really just gymnastics, but they were changing the dance form through what they did. And then some of the critics would say, well, he's just really a poor Latin dancer who's in American rhythm, like his technique isn't as good, but they were very, very, very transformative. So good call, Jason Micklick. Hashtag old school.
I mean, Yulia also. No one can touch her.
Yeah, her athleticism. She came back years later and danced with
Max and Ricardo.
no. Who's Julia danced with? The short black guy.
Yulia?
No, not Yulia. Bob and Julia. Julia Gorchakova.
Right, I'm talking about
Oh, Yulia. That's a different story. Yulia. I can't say her last name. But there's that magic, right? Yulia Gorchakova came back. Who's the couple you coach with? Yeah, Emmanuel. Emmanuel and Liana, who eventually ended up becoming American Rhythm champions. And shout out, I finished one placement behind him one time at a competition.
I had coaching with him.
Yeah. So I finished one placement behind him one time in a competition. Years later, he became the American Rhythm champion. But he danced with Yulia Gorchakova, and they were not able to achieve the magic that Bob and Julia was. So sometimes there's a music. Micklick says he was one of the Cody Moline. Yeah, Micklick, don't you think that Cody Moline and Bob Powers looked alike? This is over everyone else's head, but they look alike, don't they? Anyways, what do you got for a question, Ben?
Last question.
Last question.
The top dancers, Robert Royston, Jordan and Tatiana, Benji Schwimmer, are there classic or are there moves that they're known for doing? Do they have signature moves?
Yeah, do each of those couples have or dancers have signature moves? For sure. And I think, in my estimation, and we've kind of broken this down in some of our videos, like we've done, so Megan actually chooses some of the videos, most of the videos, all the videos that we do for the champion breakdowns. And so two of them came up as Robert Royston, and I've known Robert for 20 plus years, and some of the moves that he's doing, he's been doing for 20 plus years. And so his mastery of those moves comes out in what you would see as a brilliant Jack and Jill video that gets seen a million times, right? But to me, it's just a move he's been doing for a long time. He just did it in a brilliant place. And Micklick says Bob Powers sweated way more than Cody Moline. Yes. Micklick, you're being this old school. So I danced in a show years ago in Pennsylvania, and it was the Savoys, which Jason will know at the time, like the world's best theater arts couple. The Savoys, Bob and Julia, and me. And I was like, please let me go first. Please let me go first. That way people will clap, and then you can have all the good people. And I remember watching Bob and Julia warm up, and I remember thinking, man, I can't wait till I'm so cool that I can, like, fling sweat at someone. I move so fast. Yeah, I got good enough to fling sweat.
That's cool because now
It's with the hat.
And you're
Cowboy
flinging
hats are
sweat.
hot.
That's great. Any other? Did we get 3 yeses on the? Shit.
We had
I have to
Annie
do
on
it.
Facebook and 2 on YouTube.
Oh, all right. I'll do it. I'll do it sometime this week. I'll do it.
Did we actually answer the last question though? The Jordan
He's-
and Tot and
he
Benji that
said-
they have staple moves because
I
I
mean-
feel like they don't like they all morph.
I
Why they're hard to.
Royston for sure
Robert
has.
Royston,
moves,
yes,
yeah.
but
Well-
like Jordan and Tot and Benji, I feel like everything is.
here's what I would say, and this kind of combines a couple different questions. Like, if you watch a particular dancer during a particular part of the year, right? Like Ben Morris during summer of 2018, watch all those Jack and Jill videos. You'll see that a lot of the same moves keep cropping up. So because over time they're just like us, they're working off their same 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 moves over and over. And throughout the year, because I've done plenty of 5-hour nights where I watch a lot of videos, throughout the year they will morph what moves are their favorites. So during summer 2018, you'll see a lot of this type of stuff. During fall of 2018, you'll see some of this type of stuff.
Yeah, right now it's all about the elbow catch
Yeah.
thing.
I think the best, my favorite, that you wouldn't see that happen was Kyle Red. Kyle Red did the most. He never looked like he had his own moves that showed up over and over and over again. And actually, he won the, what was the?
They did the Liberty Swing thing.
Yeah, the John Invitational. Whoever.
Invitational, and he was the leader that won the most times. Kyle Red.
Yep. So he's the most organic guy for me.
No. I would say at that level, they get into having their signature like type of thing. So there for a long time,
Correct.
Tatiana did that with super, I don't even know how it works, but she would like spin in a circle on Jordan's knee. And then a lot of really athletic, like looking up while she's doing wood-footed spins and things. Like she'd do a lot of interesting styling things.
Yeah.
And to that point, like the top people, they typically have, like they either choose fast or slow. So they pretty much know what music they are choosing from, and the DJs kind of play into that too, so that helps with all of that.
I'll do it. I'll do a breakdown. That'd be interesting. Do I have to watch like top 5? What do you want specifically? Be specific. Someone tell me specifically what you want. Breakdown of the winner, breakdown of the top 5, the top 10. Top 10's a lot of work. That's a lot of
Say
work.
top 5.
Especially for this
Top 5. He said top 5.
Top 5. Be specific. What do you want? And I'll try to do it. Top 10 is rough. It's a lot of.
She said top 5.
She said top 5.
That was from Pump It. Yes, Micklick, the last true swing routine from one of my all-time favorite routines, Pump It by Jordan and Tatiana. That will actually show 2, 4, 6, and 8 clear timing, the most fundamental West Coast swing in the highest level. I love that routine. So yeah,
Top 5.
Micklick's bringing the old school. Micklick, you're showing your age, buddy. Shh, I won't tell anyone. Don't point at me.
I mean, you said you were there, so.
Top
Your
5,
birthday's
yeah.
coming up.
My birthday's coming up. Top 5. All right, Duffy. Top 5. You got it. All right. We'll
Open your ballroom box.
break. Oh, bring that out. Bring it out. I forgot. Bring it out. Since Duffy's here. Holy guacamole, Duffy. I'm so sorry. I've been so late. So, my friend Duffy has a new business, like a subscription box. That's good. I don't need that piece of paper. So much like a subscription box, this is a ballroom box. So I got it. I think I got it. I got it. I'm gonna peel it off.
See the box.
So ballroom box looks like this. It's pretty awesome. And I told her I would do the. Can you grab my phone too? Maybe it's on the desk. I would do an unboxing right here. So is it ballroombox.com? I think, Duffy. So this is like a subscription box that she's going to do 4 times a year. So ballroom, don't get stuck into thinking ballroom like ballroom dancing. This is like being in the ballroom of a dance event, right? So this would be applicable for you guys who are West Coast swing dancers, country dancers, because I'm going to look at what she said if I have to figure out what the heck is not in this, because there's one missing thing. Can you pop that back open, please, Miss Megan? So, here we go. Well, this is cool. Here, hold this up. Yeah. So, this is my first Ballroom Box subscription. So, ballroombox.com, I think, is the
Ballroombox.me.
.me. Ballroombox.me. So, this is it. It's kind of cool. It's got that. Look at that little
Sticker.
sticker. So, what's in my ballroom box? I'm in the ballroom at a dance event. And what things might I need? Debbie and Duffy from Dance Dress Couture LLC. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. You guys need a ballroom box. I'm serious. Check it out.
Are you going to read it?
Yeah.
So this is, I'm literally doing this for real. Yes, so Duffy says it's a subscription box for ballroom and competition dancers, West Coast swing and country too. So this is a lavender satchel. So this is good for a dance shoe bag, to soak in the bath, a sock drawer, a suitcase, for cooking or under your pillow. Quite nice, lavender. Look at that. She doesn't like smelly things. What do you think? That's fun.
Lavender.
It's lavender.
Nice.
So this is real. Like, this is the first time I've had this box in my house for like almost a week. Dancer sock foot tubes. So slip this sock over your tennis shoes. These are all, we use these for wedding couples. So if you have tennis shoes, you put these little things over the top of your shoes so that they're slippy. These are we use these for wedding couples. I know you're gonna be excited about that. This is a nice note. Oh, this is what's missing from the box. So because it's COVID time and stuff is shipping, so this will be something to back up all of your photos in one click. It's like a USB drive that will be 64 gigs, and it will save 3,500 photos and videos. You pop it in the, she doesn't have this physically in the box, so she has a note to remind us what's in the box. So you can pop this in your computer, it will suck all of your photos into one spot. So this is a dance at home this summer theme, says Duffy. Then look at this. What's this, Miss Megan? Holy cow, you need to get a ballroom box, especially if you're a West Coast swing dancer. Show everyone what that is.
TheraBand.
Holy cow.
Put it together, and then you make it your connection drill.
That's super cool. So Duffy, I don't know if you saw one of our earlier technique videos, but then this says this is home for dancing. That's cool.
Print.
Yep, that's a dance at home print, and then you can read the list down. Wait, oh, there's more cool things.
The list
Okay,
is
that's
what
the
you're
box.
pulling out.
I know, but you can just recap the list. This is fun. Jason says, Sophie, I'll love those. Did Sophie get one of those? And this is a journal for the whole dance journey. Oh my God, this is like,
Champion of your own story.
so this is a journal. It's funny, did the video come out for how to practice on your own?
No.
Yes, many of them.
No, the one we talked about, the
A journal?
dance
No.
journal. No. So coming out soon in the next couple weeks, we did a video on practicing alone, and we talked specifically about keeping a dance.
Practice on your own.
Okay, but it was we did one specifically about keeping a dance journal, so to track your progress. We did a whole video on that. It hasn't been out yet, and so this is
Best practice tips.
best practice tips. So this is notes for solo practices, private lessons, coaching workshops, and more. That's super cool. So this is actually. Has the goal and intention, the duration, the reflection. So for those of you guys who are practicing and stuck,
Would you like me to read the description?
yeah, go for it.
Be the champion of your own story. This 150-page journal is flexible enough to fit nearly anyone's note-taking style, but structured enough to keep notes organized and easily referenced at a later date. All of your notes in one place. It includes features specifically requested by dancers, such as a way to index your notes to find them easily, structured space to set goals and intentions, and open space to take notes.
So ballroombox.me, this is actually really cool. I'm glad we did this. I told Duffy that I wanted to do this like live on camera so I would not cheat and know what was going on. And oddly enough, there's like two things that we recommend in our videos. Number one, keeping a practice journal. And number two, the TheraBand are in this. Number three, we actually use this. We have a box of them over there that we use for our wedding couples. Okay, because the wedding couples steal them.
Not just the wedding couples.
But these will go over your dance shoes, so you could be slippy in a pinch. So if you forget your dance shoes, throw one of these in your bag.
But not just that, there's also access online to social dance online.
Oh shoot, I forgot. Yeah, so you get a $20 credit
It's
free,
that ballroom box.
a free month to our website. So Social Dance Online, really West Coast Swing Online, our back end videos. So you have a free month of access to all of our videos. I forgot that was even in there. That's how we started talking about this. So man, there's three things that, without even talking about, that we use and do regularly. And then lavender, because this is like
For your shoe bag.
for your shoe bag. Oh my God. Duffy, can you send us a vat of it for where we keep our shoes?
Very
Oh,
good,
it's-
thank you very much.
Do not.
It's nasty. So ballroombox.me, so check that out. That's super cool, Duffy. Congratulations. And yeah,
That
that's
ballroom box is amazing. It's got a foot thingy in it.
it's pretty cool, right? Yeah, so check out the website, ballroombox.me.
Ballroom box
ear
for all
things.
seasons.
It's pretty
Earrings?
sweet. It's pretty sweet.
I want that ballroom box.
So thanks guys for hanging out with me. We're gonna do all of us.
What is us?
Us. Four of us.
Four.
We're gonna do another set of live videos. I'm not sure when, maybe a couple weeks or so.
Whenever
And-
he comes back from his millionth trip.
So we'll do that, and we'll make that a styling-oriented day virtual workshop, and yeah, super cool.
More dips and tricks.
Yeah, bingo, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mr. Ben. Thanks, Miss Emily. Thanks, Miss Megan. Thank you, guys. Hope you're doing well.